Okay, how do I motivate my children to see housework and chores as positive experience rather than punishment? Well, this one, my mother's got the answer on this one. My mother had a roster on the fridge, lots of children. And the roster was there, and it was this week is I'm dishwasher duty this week, or laundry duty, or whatever it was. It wasn't just this week. It was I stayed on laundry duty until I had a good heart about laundry duty, until I found the blessing in laundry duty. The fact that my brother and I could sort of swap and negotiate, I'll do laundry for you if you do the bathroom floors for me, you know. We used to have that going on as well, helping one another out to do the one that I didn't mind washing floors, but I did mind hanging clothes, so we used to swap. That type of thing used to happen till my mother found out. But what she did is she had that roster going, and it wasn't this is this week and this is this week. It was really she would move the children to the next task in the household when she felt that child needed to be moved on from that. Like, let's say, for example, I was bathrooms and I was struggling with it for whatever reason. She would help come alongside, and if she saw that it's going to probably be better to take me off that task and put me on another one, then my name would change on the thing and it would be my name there next to laundry instead of bathrooms or something like that. So it was wherever our name was on the chart. It wasn't set in stone. Very wise woman, because she would work with each individual child, what household chore was most appropriate for that child, their age, their ability. That's the one thing. The other thing about it was she really did make it fun. And I'm using my mother's reference a lot here rather than my own family, because it was very different in our own family because we had chronic illness. So our children did not have chores, because it's very difficult for Jamie to empty the rubbish bins when he's in a cask, from the waist down. He can't run around the house emptying the rubbish bins. So our situation was very different, the way we raised them with regard to household. We had help in our household. We even had a nurse at a time because of health things. So they didn't have to do that themselves, but then what we did is, because I knew that was lacking, I had to build those skills in later on in their life, because they didn't happen when they were little. So it's a very different type of scenario. But I did realize that our daughter's 16 and she doesn't know how to sweep the floor. So that could be a problem, or how to use a vacuum cleaner. So I figured out it's time for me to start teaching her domestic skills, so that if she gets married one day, she will be ready. And so I started those with her when she was about 16, and it was a mother-daughter thing. It wasn't a childhood raised doing all the chores. That never happened in her life. It's just totally different. In my life, it did happen. From as far back as I can remember, I was doing household chores. We weren't allowed to call them chores because it wasn't a chore. It was being a family. That was my mother. We're going to be a family now. We're not going to be all doing our own individual thing. It's time to be a family, and then we would just all disperse and do all of our various tasks of the household. And I have to say as well, she did actually make them fun, because I wasn't allowed to hang the washing without singing. See, I had to sing my favorite songs when hanging. Right. See, so it had to be, and she made little poems around, like the dishes. There's a poem at the sink saying, "Thank you, Lord, for our dirty dishes. It shows that you have provided for us." What. I can't remember the exact thing. I would if I gave myself a few minutes. But it was, "Thank you, Lord, for dirty dishes. Without them, we are blessed by these dirty dishes." And so we would say the poem, and then I picked that up from her, and so I did that for my children. I would put poems on their mirrors in the bathroom and next to their beds, little quotes, little scriptures, to just recite things that would just feed into their hearts and minds, so that they would have the right thinking about that and the right heart about that particular thing. So, I mean, I have to say that when I go to wash dishes and do those kinds of things today, it really has, those seeds were really planted deep. And I can quite honestly say to you, I don't mind washing dishes. I can say before the Lord, and that I find it a blessing. I really, really do. I know that might be hard to believe, but it's the truth. I will volunteer to wash dishes, and I really believe it's because of those seeds that were planted. And I like to wash dishes at an event, because then I get to talk to the person who's coming to wash dishes together, and I see it as an opportunity to be blessed and be a blessing, more so than sitting and socializing. I do. So that, I believe my mother did that for me. So I don't know if this is answering this question, but basically, as far as there being a positive experience rather than a punishment, again, punishment in our family only ever happened when it was a direct disobedience. I've instructed you to do something, you're directly disobeying, that is a consequence of that is punishment. It's not punished for not doing a task, unless it was, for example, go put the washing machine, and the answer is no, I won't. It's not about the punishment about the chore, it's about the disobedience. So that's the one thing. And the other thing is, we never got rewarded. You know, I know some children were growing up and they were getting pocket money, and they were getting things for doing stuff in the house. And when we queried that our cousins were getting pocket money for, and when he washed the car, he got, 10 rand or whatever it was. When we queried that, we were just told we're being a family, and you don't get paid for being a family. You see, so it wasn't, we never ever got paid for doing jobs. And I think that had something as well, that we never felt that doing that job resulted in some payment, and unless I get paid, I'm not doing it. That just wasn't even discussed. It was not part of the way that we were raised. And so it's the same with them. When we worked in full-time ministry, with our children, when the shipment arrived and we were stamping all the books, it wasn't a case of how much are you going to pay me to help with the work in the ministry. No, this is called being a servant. This is servanthood. This is what it looks like. This is what we're doing together. And this is why. So the reason was we're serving the Lord with this. This is how we can give. He's given to us. Let's look at what he's given to us. Look around. What has he given to us? And you could just go on and on with what he's given to us. Now we're going to give. So it became an exercise of giving and teaching them servanthood, rather than a job that they were going to get paid for. Okay.